So we have a lot of drama in today's MLB recap. Blake Snell, the two-time Cy Young winner, just called out the World Series champion Jordan Montgomery. We'll talk about that later on. Cubs lefty Justin Steele, he was about to get ejected for sticky stuff, but then the umpires told him to go wash his hands, and Mets fans were like, where was that when Edwin Diaz got ejected a few weeks ago? This Brewers outfielder will not stop robbing home runs, and the New York Yankees just got put in a blender by Patrick Corbin? So we'll talk about all of that and more in today's MLB recap. And don't forget, recap is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use code Fuzzy to save 20 bucks off all of your tickets. Also, a massive shout out to Underdog Fantasy. They have been a huge sponsor for this series. If you guys are brand new and never signed up, my code Fuzzy gets you up to $1,000 in bonus cash. And today they have discounts on Shohei Ohtani, Caitlin Clark. There's a lot of fun going on, so download Underdog Fantasy with my code. So before we talk about the games from yesterday as well as the drama, we have some housekeeping updates. 44-year-old Rich Hill is back in Major League Baseball, and he's back with the Red Sox. I don't think that he's going to be a starter, but I just want to let you guys know he's coming back for year 20, probably in a relief role for Boston. Jason Hayward has been picked up by the Astros, so he got DFA'd by the Dodgers. He cleared waivers, and now he's with Houston. The Astros are trying everyone and their mother to try and fill in the gap left behind by Kyle Tucker and his injury. Staying with a few health updates, the Giants just lost out on two key pitchers, Robbie Ray and Jordan Hicks. They're both going to be missing some time. Hopefully they're going to be okay, but those are all the housekeeping updates. Let's talk about the games. Here we go. The Giants at the Brewers. Jackson Chourio, he broke the scoreboard, a two-run majestic home run that almost went 450 feet. He's got 16 home runs and 19 stolen bases at 20 years old. Now we're going to talk about some Boris guys like Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery. Here's another Boris client, Matt Chapman. He's got 21 home runs and an almost 6 WAR on Baseball Reference. He's really trying to get an extension. So the game's tied at 2 when Tyler Estrada, he untied. No, he didn't. That's not a home run. Blake Perkins, he took it back. He's robbed multiple home runs this season, but no one's going to rob these next few home runs. Rookie Grant McCray, he knew that ball was gone 422 feet, but Willie beat that with a 2-run home run, and his went 13 feet further. So the Brewers, they reclaimed their lead. They're up 4-3 in the 7th inning. Yaz, he's up with the runner on, and Mike Wazowski won it. The 5th home run of the day ends the scoring for both teams. Yastrzemski, he's the hero as Ryan Walker converts his 4th save. They could use a Brewers or Mets L. We'll talk about that in a second. And that's because now we got to break down Blake Snell versus Jordan Montgomery, and it's actually Blake Snell and Scott Boras versus Jordan Montgomery. So Montgomery, he's essentially blamed Scott Boras, his former agent, for botching his offseason, and Blake Snell is like, I didn't have that experience. I knew about every single deal that came to the table, and now Blake is absolutely shredding. So he essentially said that Montgomery is not being fair to Scott Boras and that Montgomery needs to just pitch better. I kind of agree. Monty's had almost 20 starts. I'm not saying Jordan Montgomery missing out on spring training didn't hurt him, but that's plenty of innings to get things back under wraps, and he didn't do that, so now he's in the bullpen. Oh, this is a perfect transition because we have the Mets and the Diamondbacks, and Jordan Montgomery actually pitched yesterday, but remember, he's in the bullpen now, and he's going to get some leash in this one because the actual starter, Brandon Pfaadt, he got tossed around a little bit. Pete, that's his 29th home run of the season. He ties Mike Piazza with 220 home runs for his career. Mike Piazza had more, but obviously that was as a Met. Sean Manaea, he's been looking like prime Chris Sale. He had 6 punch-outs through 3 innings after striking out the side in the 3rd inning. Then he got some more run support. It's 4-0 after Francisco Alvarez and Mark Vientos both drove in an RBI. And here comes Monty. He hit the first guy that he faced. Oh yeah, I'm sure spring training would have helped you not hit that guy. And also a bases loaded walk to Jeff McNeil. Now, this was not his fault. Geraldo Perdomo did make an error, and all of those runs were credited to Brandon Pfaadt. He gave up 8 runs, but only 6 of them were earned runs. Sean, he was nasty all night. 11 strikeouts, but he definitely ran out of gas in the 7th inning. Lourdes, that's a solo home run. Corbin Carroll, a 2-run home run straight out of an AC 130. He's got 15 home runs and 21 stolen bases and a 98 OPS plus. He's completely saved his season over the last month and a half, 2 months. The Diamondbacks, they still got pummeled, though. They need a Padres loss now. We'll talk about the Orioles and Yankees games after this one, and then the Guardians and the Royals, because that'll be so much fun for me, a Guardians fan. Manny Machado cannot be stopped. I always love seeing him and Arenado face off. I don't think that Arenado started this game, though. They owned third base for a while. I mean, those guys and J-Ram. Luis Campusano singled in Jackson Merrill right before Mason McCoy grounded out to make it 4-2, and it would have been more if Victor Scott wasn't a future Platinum Glover in the making. If he didn't exist, this ball 100% lands for an RBI double. I mean, Victor is tied with Bobby Witt Jr. for the fastest human in baseball, up there with Pete Crow Armstrong. Jackson, he couldn't believe it. They hugged it out, and I love the mutual respect from these guys. Remember, it's a kid's game. The Diamondbacks, are they getting their wish? Did the Padres blow it? Lars had an RBI single, and Goldie with a 2-run home run. That's his 20th home run, but the almost 37-year-old still has a terrible 88 OPS plus on the season. The Diamondbacks then had to watch the St. Louis Pen give up the lead as Profar had a sac fly. Jake Cronenworth showed off the quick hands to line an RBI single versus a tough lefty. And Tanner Scott, another tough lefty, he got the save for the Padres. Pinch hitter Nolan Arenado, he dribbled one of Manny. It was off the bag, and Manny... that's just him being Manny. The Padres have won 3 games in a row. That means both Arizona and San Diego are tied at 3 games back of the Dodgers and for the top wildcard spot. So the Braves, are they going to win? The Braves game will have to wait because we have some potential shuffling going on in the AL East. Dylan Cruz, is that a home run? Nope, it bangs off the wall for a double, so his first base hit in the big leagues is a double. He advanced Jose Tana to third base, who then scored on a Joey Gallo groundout. That's why it's now 2-0 after rookie Andres Chaparro. He's finally on the board with his first big league tater, and another rookie just went yard. Back-to-back home runs on back-to-back pitches. Jose Tana, he came on over in the Lane Thomas trade. He's got insane exit velocities. He was blocked by the 77 OPS plus Andres Jimenez. Andres, his defense is great, but he was not paid $110 million to play platinum defense. Like, yeah, it was part of it, but he's been awful since signing that contract. Skipping to the 6th inning, Dylan Cruz, he showed off the tools again. He stole third base, and his defense is really good as well. I think that he's going to be a star. He scored on a DJ LeMahieu error, and Gallo, he ripped it way too hard. He gave DJ a lot of trouble. The Yankees, they tried to rally a little bit, but Kyle Finnegan, he wrapped it up with Soto on deck. His 33rd save came on a 4-out save. Patrick Corbin, I can't move on without showcasing what he did. 6 scoreless, 2 base hits, 6 strikeouts against the Bronx Bombers. I mean, I don't know how he did this. Patrick Corbin has been useless for the last 4 or 5 seasons, but over the last few weeks, he's actually turned in some pretty decent starts. Imagine if Patrick Corbin just out of nowhere figures it out and he becomes elite all over again. Ryan O'Hearn, more like Ryan O'Heard, that the Yankees just lost a ball game and he finally got a ball to leave. That's his first home run in over a month. Here comes the Dodgers, though, after grabbing 1 run on a Miguel Rojas sac fly. Teoscar Hernandez, he peppered a changeup and in scores Shohei Ohtani for the go-ahead RBI. Flaherty, he was having some fun. He showed off the Matrix-level reflexes by robbing Cedric Mullins of a screaming comebacker, but the fun ran out. Ramon Urias, build the statue now. I'm obviously joking. His 2-run home run in the 6th inning is the 6th home run allowed by Jack Flaherty already in just 5 starts as a Dodger. There's another comebacker. This time, he could not get out the way. There was some big-time swelling, and you could see it in the dugout. He really tried to battle through that, and he actually did. He overcame that. Not only did he overcome that comebacker, but he overcame 2 base hits in the 6th inning. A Teoscar Hernandez web gem got him through 6. That is some serious grit, if you ask me. Ultimately, the 3 runs by the Orioles proved to be too much as Will Smith, he was hosed on a strike 3 call to end the 8th inning. Smith is batting 156 with a 38 OPS plus in the second half. He's been the worst hitter in baseball since the All-Star break. Sir Anthony Dominguez, he was looking like the Dominican Kimbrel. The bases were juiced. Orioles fans were losing years off their life by the second, but Chris Taylor, he popped up, and the Dodgers, they lose to the Orioles, so the Orioles are back to a game within first place. Speaking of first place, do I have to show this game? Royals fans, I mean, GG's. The Royals, they're now in first place, tied with the Guardians for the first time since April 13th. Cleveland does not have sole possession of first place. Paul DeJong had a 2-run blast in the second. I mean, that would have won the game, but the Royals, they kept on scoring. And real quick, I do want to show Michael Lorenzen. He pulled his hammy covering first base. So back-to-back days where the Royals lost their starters early. Even as a Guardians fan, I hate to see that. Like, I don't want to beat teams at their worst. I want to beat them at their best. General James McCarthy, he came out after the rain delay. He was disgusting. And then his offense added a few more runs as the former Royal closing pitcher Scott Barlow, he let Adam Frazier get an RBI. Here's a free run courtesy of a wild pitch. Michael Massey, who just hit a home run as I'm recording this freaking video. That's okay, whatever. Bobby, please. I mean, come on. What are we doing? Throw a strike. I pray that Bobby's going to be okay. He's playing right now. Kyle Isbell, he's looking like a dude perfect try hard. Maybe I'm just being salty, but that's a cool play right there. Like I mentioned, the Royals, after spending $110 million over the offseason, they are now in first place, tied with the Guardians. The Guardians at one point had a 9-game lead, but everyone and their mom has fallen off a cliff. Stephen Kwan is hitting under 300 now, but again, GG's to the Royals for spending money because they spent $110 million this offseason. The Guardians have spent $54 million since 2021 on free agents. That's pathetic. Now, Boston fans are not happy with me and my squad, and I don't blame you at all, and we'll show their game in a second because we got to check in on the Twins. They're taking on the Braves, and both squads there searching for a wild card spot. And hey, kids, if you're facing a lefty, don't ever throw it right there because down and in is a dream location for left-handed hitters. Michael Harris, he just dropped the barrel for a 2-run home run. I'm just happy to see that his wrist is okay. Now, the Twins, they could have scored one on the Silos double, but Kepler, he was held up. He was kind of barking at his third base coach. He wasn't happy about that. And Spencer Schwellenbach, this guy shreds 98 miles an hour to end that threat. 8 strikeouts in 4 innings. Where do the Braves find these guys? Like, they grow on trees. You have Ian Anderson, he falls off. Bryce Elder, he falls off. Michael Soroka, he falls off, but no problem. They just ink guys and find guys left and right. Ozuna, he put Spencer up 2 more. He wants the Triple Crown really bad. And Minnesota, they want this win bad. Castro, Larnach, and Wallner, they made it 3 consecutive hits in the 7th inning. Larnach doubled and Willie, and after Wallner knocked in Trevor, Eddie Julian, he brought it to a 1-run game. He really needed that big moment after his throwing error. But here's the sad part. I'm not saying that Eddie has the yips, but it kind of looks like it. He cannot hit his target. Obviously, I'm being dramatic. I don't think it's the yips. And full credit to Jared Kelenic with the hustle. Travis d'Arnaud had an RBI single up the gut. Ramon Laureano has been him with the Braves. That's 14 extra base hits and 15 RBIs and 123 at-bats. He's kind of saving the second half of his career with the Braves. And the Twins, yeah, they get beat 8-6. So Boston fans, they're happy about that. The Braves are 8-2 over their last 10 games, and the Twins have lost 3 in a row, so now they're just praying that the Red Sox fall to the Blue Jays, but we have some history. Jarren Duran is the first player ever with a 10, 20, 30, 40 season. That's 10 plus triples, 20 plus home runs, 30 plus stolen bases, and 40 plus doubles. He also has an insane 20 defensive run saves and 9 outs above average. The Sox, they had a lot of fun versus Yariel Rodriguez. As Masataka Yoshida, he line went back up the middle for 2 more runs, and even when the Blue Jays were kind of threatening, their rookie outfielder Willie Abreu kept more runs off the board. That was an absolute seed to nab Ernie Clement at home, and Ernie can fly, but when you got a top 2% arm, you can make it look easy. Also, by the way, he's got 14 home runs, a 130 OPS plus, and 4 outs above average. He's in that conversation for Rookie of the Year with Cowser, Wells, and Cade Smith. But like I said, the Red Sox had a field day versus Y-Rod David Hamilton. His RBI single got him on, and then he scored easy on a Tristan Costas RBI extra base hit. Willier, he showed off the stick. He socked it, and that was just too much for Will Wagner to handle, so that's an RBI for Willier. But Wagner handled this pitch all right. His first home run came in the same game that he also had 2 doubles. He's batting .330 in his first 13 games. Varsho, he's up to 16 home runs, 28 defensive run saves, 15 outs above average. The Blue Jays kind of tease their fan base a little bit as Kenley, he does end the game. So the Red Sox are 68-64. They're 4 games back of the Twins for that 3rd and final wildcard spot. You got to give JV this call. We are talking about a future Hall of Famer in Justin Verlander painting strike 3, and instead you give Trey Turner extra life, and he went the other way to bring home Austin Hayes. Harper, this is a great sign. He goes inside out. When Bryce is having those baseballs land, yeah, you got to watch out. And those fans in left field, they better watch out as well. You two Philly fanatics, he was... The Fanatic is so much fun. He was out there in left field for some reason. Nick Castellanos, that is a 3-run tater. He says he has 0 plate approach. He just goes out and sees the ball out the hand, and he just swings as hard as he can. Aaron Nola, he picked apart the Astros lineup. When his sinker is working in versus righties, and then he can break out that knuckle curve, Aaron Nola is disgusting. 7 scoreless, 6 strikeouts, just 4 base hits. Alec Boehm added to his runner and scoring position stats. This was a no man's land RBI. He's got a near 150 OPS plus when ducks run upon. Bryce Harper, he showed off the leather again. He's got 4 outs above average and 4 DRS. It's been really cool to see him become a plus defender over there. That's the 13th strikeout for the Phillies this year. They've won 4 in a row. They're tied with the Dodgers for the most wins in baseball at 78. Come on, Seattle. This is your moment. Logan Gilbert, he emptied the freaking tank for you guys, but like Jeffrey Springs, he was out of his mind as well for the Rays. Springs and Gilbert, they were looking like prime Cliff Lee and Felix Hernandez. I bring up Felix for a reason. We'll talk about that in a second. Springs, he racked up 2 more strikeouts in the 5th. That gave him 9 strikeouts over 5 scoreless, just 1 base hit. That is huge for the 2025 Rays because Drew Rasmussen, he's cooking in the pen as well. Gilbert, he was better. 6 scoreless, 10 strikeouts, no walks, and would you look at that? Now he's got the lead thanks to Victor Robles. He stole 3rd base, and that was a terrible throw from Alex Jackson. I hate to ruin their moment, though. You could have heard a pin drop after this next swing. Jose Siri, the best bad player ever. He could be the first guy since Rugen Odor to have 20 home runs but a sub 80 OPS plus in the same season. Every time he hits it, he just knows it's gone. Another no doubt missile. Yandy, he drilled a huge solo home run. It's big because Robles, he's wrecking havoc again with his speed. He bunts in the 8th inning. That set up runners in scoring position for Cal Raleigh, and it found grass. Cal makes it a 1-run game, but it meant nothing because the Rays can find stud relief pitchers everywhere. Who was Manuel Rodriguez? I must be a terrible baseball fan or something, but the dude's got a 2.2 ERA. He just picked up his first save, and the reason why I compare Logan Gilbert to Felix Hernandez is because Logan Gilbert is 7-10. 7 wins, 10 losses, despite almost having a sub-3 ERA. That is absolutely embarrassing for the Mariners lineup. They got to pick it up soon. I'm talking to you, J-Rod. I'm talking to you, everyone else. So the Astros stay 3.5 games up on the Mariners, and because we just showed off a few AL West teams, let's talk about the A's and the Angels games real quick. The A's have some studs. They won this game with 3 swings between the 7th and the 8th innings. Max Schumann, attaboy, let the ball travel. He has 7 home runs, 11 stolen bases, and a .330 on base during his rookie season. Another rookie, Jacob Wilson, he bled a towering single. That ball was in and then out of the glove of Santiago Espinal. We have some more rookies. Lawrence Butler, he just leaned on this baseball. 15 home runs, 11 stolen bases. Zach Geloff, I need this kid to have a huge September because he's got sky-high talent. He's got 16 home runs and 17 stolen bases while struggling. Now, Mason Miller, he's having an off day on the bump. His ERA spiked back over 2 after allowing 2 runs in the 9th inning. Spencer Steer, he has a 9-game hit streak after that RBI. And now Ty France, he doubled 4 base hits off of Mason in 1 inning. That's never happened before in a relief appearance. Ahmed, he's up with 2 on, but we call this a Louisiana Bayou. 101 past Ahmed for the strikeout. Mason now has 22 saves, and the A's, they're 27-19 since the beginning of July. The Halos got beat up in Detroit as Matt Vierling drove in a run and ended up at third base after Joe Adell booted the ball, but to Joe's credit, he has been better defensively this year. Scary Carey, this guy has to be the most underrated player, or at least the most underrated hitter in the American League. Neto had no choice but to try and scoop it, but it got past them. Time for the Tigers to break out the boomsticks. Jake Rogers and Riley Green, they both went to dead center off of Johnny Cueto. These were some bombs. So if those were bombs, this next home run must be a satellite or something like that. Kerry Carpenter, break out the pizza stick celebration. He's got a 155 OPS plus. He has 13 home runs and 190 at-bats. I wish that he never got hurt. Jason Foley with a fun 1-out save. The tying run was on deck when he came in, so the Tigers, whoa, they've won 5 in a row. They're 12-3 their last 15 games. Pretty much all using rookies. This Seiya Suzuki guy might be the most underrated hitter not named Kerry Carpenter. Oppo off of Jared Jones. He's got 19 home runs and a 133 OPS plus, but over his last 30-ish games, he's batting .320 with 16 extra base hits and 17 RBIs. Nico Horner, he tagged Jared for a double, and Paredes, he galloped around from first base. He scores. Dansby, on his mom's birthday, she's in attendance. He goes yard for his mom. He's got 3 home runs and 9 RBIs over his last 10 games. The Pirates, by the way, I won't show it, but they did fall apart. That's why it's 7-2. They walked Dansby and Pete Crow Armstrong with the bases loaded, and this Miguel Amaya kid is rewarding the Cubs big time for them giving him some leash. He's batting .640 with 13 RBIs since last week. Brian De La Cruz, he's heating up as well. He's got a lot of extra base hits, and O'Neal Cruz, he went 4 for 4 as their DH, but those home runs and bases loaded walks against the Pirates did them in. They lose 9-5. And yeah, the Pirates, I don't know if their season is over, but they're in danger of being swept by their division rival, the Cubs, who are ahead of them both in the Central and the wild card, obviously. Now, in that game, there was a little bit of controversy because Justin Steele, he was sweating. It was really humid down in Pittsburgh, and he was using a lot of sweat and rosin. That's what it was. They deemed it as sweat and rosin. The umpires, they convened and they said, you got to go wash your hands. We don't think that you're cheating. We know that it's humid. You got to try and control pitches with sweat and rosin, but you got to go wipe it off because it's a little excessive. The reason why it caused some controversy is because Edwin Diaz a few weeks ago was ejected without any warning. He was not told to go wash his hands, and the umpire said that was not sweat and rosin, even though Edwin swore up and down that it was. They said it was beyond that. It was way too sticky. So that's where the controversy lies. What do you make about some guys getting a warning and being able to wash their hands and other guys swearing that it was just sweat and rosin, but then they take the suspension and they're out? Yo, the Marlins can make it a clean sweep for the NL East. The Phillies, Mets, Braves, and Nationals all won. The Marlins are going to have to grind because the Rockies put up a fat 6-spot on poor Roddery Munoz's head. Chuck Nasty went 452 feet. He's 38 years old. He can still swing it. The 23-year-old beat him as Ezekiel Tovar, the lead of this baseball. I want you guys to guess the distance. You got it? You got it in your mind? 456 feet, and now he's going golfing. He's got 38 doubles, 21 home runs, 9 outs above average. His 61 extra base hits is top 12 in all of baseball. Now, switching gears to Miami, they have a few potential future stars on their hands as Jesus Sanchez. I think that he's good, but he drives in Connor Norby, who got on base 3 times again. Kyle Stowers, he goes oppo. That trade with Baltimore is coming in huge. The last 2 clips is Norby scores and Kyle Stowers, he has his first home run as a Marlin. The Marlins scored another on a ground out when rookie Griffin Conine bashed one. I thought it was going to be a home run, but his first base hit is a stand-up triple. The whole family was in attendance, including his dad, who was called Mr. Marlin. So Conine scores on a sac fly, and the Rockies answered right back. Sam Hilliard had a home run, and Tovar, his 4th RBI of the game, came on a sac fly. The Rockies, they unplugged their brains, though. They sent out Tyler Kinley to try and end this game. He sucks. He's very, very bad. So Jake Berger, he makes it an 8-6 game with a laser beam 2-run double, and this was inevitable. Why did they put Kinley in the game? Kinley, whatever his name is. The Marlins just won it as Jesus Sanchez drilled a go-ahead 2-run home run, and then Calvin Foucher was disgusting. He struck out all 3 Rockies for the save. The Marlins, they win 9-8. Honestly, that was one of my more favorite recaps of the entire year. I had a lot of fun recording that. So if you guys enjoyed, do me a favor, leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek and Underdog Fantasy. And I hope you guys enjoy the web gems. Have a great day.
Shallow right center field. Jose.
Big chopper. Canna has it. He'll go to second and what a
Line and caught by Garcia. On the ground down the left, third, hits the bag. Machado's got it, his throw in time.
For the Padres.
He's had some ridiculously clutch home runs for them. Here's a pop-up, long run. Neto sliding to make the...
This one is playable. Here the Twins dugout. Jeffers called off by Santana, leading.